You may want to avoid moving to Florida if you can't handle these 10 things that I'm going to share with you in a second. And so you know, I learned these 10 things after moving here. And it's not the heat and humidity that everyone wants to talk about. Although it isn't exactly pleasant here in the summer, and your hair will be frizzy, and you are sweating profusely just walking to your mailbox. And your dogs no longer care to walk, and you feel disgusting right after showering. In fact, at times, you'll wonder if you showered outside. But anyway, all the different ways to keep cool are endless. Between your AC, pools, beach, water parks, the springs at the state parks, and even lakes if you want to swim with the gators. So maybe it was worth mentioning the heat, but it's not the 10 things I want to mention today or the 10 things that I learned after moving here. I knew it was hot when I moved here, so stay tuned. I'll share those 10 things with you and a bonus one. So stick around for that. I'll tell you what they are next. Hi everyone, I'm Chandra, a local realtor here in the Orlando area. And if this is your first time to our channel, then welcome. This is where we cover everything you need to know about living in Orlando, Florida, and all the surrounding suburbs. I get calls every day from people just like you looking to move to the area. So whether you're moving here in 1 week or 1 year, just reach out, whether it's text, email, or phone call, or we could even set up a Zoom appointment. Whatever fits your needs. We would love to hear from you. All of our information is in the description below. And with that said, let's talk about reasons you may want to avoid moving to Florida. Number 1, stoplights. Florida stoplights take forever, and we have red light cameras also. My husband and I both learned the red light cameras the hard way. And no, we aren't rebels. I just didn't come to that complete 1, 2, 3 stop at a red light before I took my right. But I wanted to beat all that traffic that was coming from my left. Well, they mailed me a ticket. Now I'll wait on the traffic. As far as the long red lights, I know they're regulated to accommodate the traffic, and we have our fair share of that here. But then you have people that are crossing at the crosswalk, so they get typically 45 seconds to get across, which it doesn't take nearly that. But some lights you can sit at, and there's really no rhyme or reason why you're still sitting there. So some lights, you feel like you could write a novel before it turns green. So always give yourself plenty of time to get from point A to point B. It will definitely challenge your patience here. And number 2, this is 3 T's. We have traffic, tolls, and terrible drivers. Traffic and terrible drivers first. Not only do we have millions of tourists, we also have people moving here from all over the world, and they bring their driving skills, or lack of, and it can annoy those who live here. So then you have some angry and clueless drivers. It's not a great combination. So traffic and terrible drivers can be very stressful here. Well, I have to mention the honking. I have never been anywhere that people honk as much as they do here. And sometimes, if you're lucky, you even get the finger. I mean, they like honk and give you that finger. Now, I'm guilty of the honking at times, but only because I could tell they're still working on that novel. Seriously, face down in the phone, I'll never understand it. And tolls, which I made a video about that too. It's called Navigating Orlando. It shows you where the tolls start and stop, just in case you want to avoid them. But we do have more tolls than any other city, but they aren't the most expensive. So that's the bright side. Number 3, we have lots and lots of pests. It doesn't freeze here, so I think they double in size from year to year. Some common pests found in Florida are mosquitoes. Florida's warm and wet climates provides an ideal breathing ground for mosquitoes. In fact, Orange County used to be called Mosquito County until the orange groves became a thing. But not only do they carry diseases, they are a nuisance, and they stop you from your enjoying the outdoor activities at times. Cockroaches. You have to treat or live with them. Take your pick. Ants. I didn't even know the world had as many ants as I've seen in my own yard. It is constant. Once again, pest control. Various species of ants are common here. You got fire ants, carpenter ants, and ghost ants. And they invade your house in search of food and water, and subspecies like fire ants can deliver painful stings. So, treat those. Termites. We have subterranean termites, and there's a significant problem in Florida. They cause a lot of damage to the wooden structures at homes. In fact, termite infestations often go unnoticed until significant damage has already occurred. And the saying goes, it's not if you get termites living in Florida, it's when you get termites. So once again, pest control. Spiders. While most spiders in Florida are harmless, but we do have those brown recluse. It's so hard for me to talk about. And black widows. I haven't seen those kind, but we have a lot of small webs at the top of our screen enclosure outside. And I've seen one or two huge spiders under our lanai. Once again, pest control. Rodents. Rats and mice are common pests in Florida. We haven't seen them in our house per se, but we did have a family living out in our shed a couple of years ago. And that was an interesting situation. They surprised my husband, but thank God they didn't surprise me because I probably wouldn't be here making this video right now. Then we have palmetto bugs or water bugs, but they're basically cockroaches on steroids and they fly. These are actually very common in Florida, particularly in the outdoor areas and around bodies of water, but thankfully I haven't had any fly at me. We have bees and wasps. We have various species of bees and wasps, including honeybees, carpenter, paper wasps, yellow jackets. They're all found in Florida. But while the bees are having fun pollinating, the wasps can be very aggressive, and they build homes in the strangest places. So it's not uncommon to stumble across them every now and then. And then number 4, avoid moving to Florida if you're someone who loves to have a nice green yard that's well landscaped and weed-free. Good luck. It's so hard to do here. Just like everything else, we have every weed you can think of residing here, and with our weather, maintaining a nice yard is a huge challenge. Your grass will have moisture stress because it either rains too much or the humidity creates water that sits on the blades of the grass, and then you have a fungus that takes over. Or it's super hot and this causes stress on the grass. Seriously, the struggle is real. In Illinois, we had the handheld weed picker where you dig the dandelion out just here and there, water in the morning to prevent the fungus, and all is beautiful. But here, not so much. Our weeds are like bugs. We have so many different kinds. You can't even imagine. And they blow in the wind, so it's hard to maintain a weed-free yard. I said it right here. Also, we only have 3 types of grass that's commonly found here. St. Augustine is one of the most common, but if you have kids or dogs that want to play in the yard, you'll quickly see a path where they walk. It has a different level of tolerance to foot traffic. And I'm sure the soil conditions don't help that, because Florida soil is sand or clay. But that was another interesting factor moving here. Instead of seeing little sidewalks, you see sand. And of course, sand lacks your essential nutrients or any organic matter that's needed to support your healthy grass growth. But the weeds have no problems growing in the sand. Overall, understanding the type of grass you have, the do's and the don'ts, and being mindful of when and how you walk on the grass can help you reduce damage and hopefully provide the nice yard that you're looking for. Number 5, we're halfway there. Another reason you may want to avoid moving to Florida are the crowds. Florida is crowded, and you see it in the grocery stores, restaurants, and shopping in general. And it's getting worse because more people move to Florida than they move away each year. And Florida is the #1 state that people are moving to since COVID. So if you're one of those people who are always in a hurry, you want the front parking spot in the parking lot, you'll have an issue with all that here. I don't leave my house to go to the store anytime after 3. And I don't go out to eat on a weekend. In fact, I avoid any stores on the weekend. I even avoid main roads the best I can at specific times because everyone else thinks that's a great time to be out also. If we have to have something after a certain time, I send my husband. He doesn't seem to mind it, so it just depends on personality, I guess. I mean, I love people, don't get me wrong, just not so many in one area. This next one is probably more of a issue for men, although it took me a little getting used to as well. And that's, we have very small garages here. The standard garage size here is 19 by 20. And when you own a truck, you barely fit in the garage. A lot of people just park their cars outside in Florida and they use the garage for storage. You don't have a basement here, and the attic's too hot to store anything, and the garage barely fits 2 cars, so unless you build your own house, expect a tiny garage. And if you're used to using your garage for storage, you may be one of those that also park outside. We squeeze our vehicles in because we prefer not leave our cars in the Florida sun. It's not good on the paint or the battery. So there's no storage there. The next one's allergies. Some people can't seem to find a break with Florida allergens. Between the trees, grass, weeds, and mold, it can be a challenge, because none of these want to take a break. The allergy season in Florida lasts most of the year, but the peak allergy season is typically April, May, and September. So during these months, you might have to limit your outdoor activity or wear your COVID mask. We do see that though. We have multiple cities in Florida that rank as the most challenging places for people to live with pollen allergies, and Orlando made the top 10, number 8. To be exact. And it's not just our pretty flowering trees that cause this. It's generally the elms, pines, oak trees, maple, river birch. We have a lot of lush green in Florida, so. But it just depends on whereabouts in Florida that you live. And number 8 is our alligators. We do coexist with them, and we have over 1 million in Florida. So you'll definitely see them here and there. I made a video on the wildlife here in Florida, and I talked about how you can avoid them, and or if you do encounter them, how you can handle that situation. So take a look at that, and especially if you have pets or small kids. I will say there is not a need to fear them, but definitely respect their area and keep a very close eye out if you have small kids and pets. We've had some very sad occurrences here that could have been avoided. And number 9, avoid moving here if you enjoy shoveling snow or if you love your 4 seasons. We either average in the 70s or the lower 90s. One week can be 90 and the actual next week can be 70s. There isn't any long stretch that we can call spring or fall. But if your favorite season is winter, you will hate it here. But I will mention, we have the most beautiful views everywhere. And at all times here in Florida, you don't even need spring and fall. And I feel like it's worth not having the 4 seasons. There's not one day where I'm out running errands and I haven't just looked up and seen something that makes me think, man, that's pretty. Or it just makes you feel thankful to be here. It's really hard to explain. Until you move here, you probably might understand. And number 10, avoid moving here if you fear storms. We have crazy storms here. I personally love them, and we aren't just the shark capital of the world, we are the lightning capital of the United States. The Orlando and Tampa area have the highest injury-related strikes in the U.S. So when it's lightning, you run for shelter. Although I have seen some people just hang out in the ocean. Have I talked to you about the people here yet? Oh yeah, I did. But here in Florida, it's not uncommon to hear the lightning strike things. We recently actually just had a lightning strike. One of our back walls that's made out of concrete in our subdivision broke a big old chunk of it off. I mean, it's brutal. And here's my bonus that I mentioned earlier. You made it this far. You are to avoid moving to Florida without a realtor. That's right. You need somebody on your side that knows and understands the real estate and the transaction process. So reach out to me. I'd love to be your realtor of choice, and my information is below. And don't forget to subscribe and hit the like button and check out the Florida wildlife video right here. Until next time, take care.